From the Basement Doctor Studios, this is Sports Talk with Koza, presented by Jerry Lewis's McDonald's Restaurants on Sports Radio 93.1 The Fan.
Let's do our latest 30 and 30.
30 in 30. Celebrating Lima Land's best basketball players in the last 30 years. Presented by Layfeld Welding and Supplies and Miller Brothers Tire.
Number 24, Quincy Cloud, Joe Gardner, Cory Sinning, Van Wert.
Quite a terrific trio. Two of those young men playing together in 1992 and leading Van Wert to the state semifinals. And then the young man, Cory Sinning, boy, what a player he was at Van Wert. And then later at West Point, when you talk the Van Wert memory, number 24, it's brought to you by Greevy Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Van Wert, inviting you to come in, test drive a new or pre-owned vehicle. Greevy Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, confident they can find the right vehicle for you. Online, Greevy Chrysler Jeep Dodge of VanWert.com. And let's begin with the younger of the three. What a player he was at Van Wert. 1,892 points, the all-time leading scorer at Van Wert High School. Here's Cory Sinning, everybody. Hi, Cory.
Vince, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And it's interesting to note you talk about you playing at Van Wert and that really tradition that began with Quincy and Joe back in the early 90s.
Yes, they set quite the precedent for Van Wert Cougar basketball, and I remember Joe and Q playing and saw them in a couple of games and just hoped one day to be out there on the court like them and live up to their legacy. Well,
you did that and then some. The all-time career scoring leader at Van Wert with 1,892 points, 4-year varsity letter winner, 3-year team captain, single-game scoring leader, 43 points, season free throw record, 90% from the charity stripe. What was it like playing at Van Wert?
Vince, it was an unbelievable experience. I was obviously very fortunate to play there for 4 years, and under the direction of Dave Froelich, who absolutely great leader, and someone who I'm still close to, and I consider a personal friend to this day.
Well, go ahead. Well, speaking of your friend, let's bring him in on the Superior Federal Credit Union hotline. And Dave, he was gushing about you, and I stopped him just dead in his tracks there. Sorry about that. But Dave, welcome to our Van Wert memory, and let's reminisce with coaching Cory Sinning.
Well, first of all, you didn't let him finish the script I wrote for him, so that kind of cut me off on that. But it was pretty easy to coach a guy like Cory and the teammates that were with him. They had a true love for the game. They came in and practiced hard, and it was just a lot of fun. But you really like to see guys that put in quality time to prepare that nobody else sees in the off season and on their own and at the Y in different places. Reap those rewards, and Cory certainly did that. Second
team All-Ohio selection, and you guys had quite a run. Was it your junior year or your senior year, Cory?
It was junior year. I think we made a pretty decent run there into the tournament and had some nice wins, and kind of pushed the envelope a little bit as far as driving into the tournament.
Sure. And Dave, take us back to those last 2 years of Cory playing at Van Wert.
Well, we certainly we won a lot of games. Unfortunately, we had to run into some teams that like an Ottawa Glandorf that were loaded, and they were great games, and unfortunately, you don't make the deep tournament run like the teams that Joey and Quincy were on, but that certainly didn't take away, I hope, from the experience that the guys had and what they did for the course of their career. In Cory's case, as a 4-year starter, which is a little more common today, but it's still a tremendous accomplishment, and it's based on obviously his skill level and dedication to being a good player.
2-time Western Buckeye League Player of the Year. and all Ohio as well. And to me, when you talk about your senior numbers, 26 points, 53% from the field, 4.9 rebounds, 2.3 steals, 2.1 assists. The most impressive stat for me, 90% from the free throw line. I do a lot of basketball games, and I'll tell you, very few people can shoot 90%. That's quite a number. Was that something that you just took pride in, Corey? What was that like?
Absolutely. It was one of the things that the coaches had obviously drilled into my head early in my career as far as being excellent from the stripe. And, that's a way you can win a lot of basketball games, and I just made it a part of the routine every day.
Dave,
when working out.
Do you remember many others that you coached in your 110 years coaching of a young man shooting as many free throws as he did and making 90% of them?
No, that's quite a number. And, what really separated Cory from a lot of players, and we don't see it much, he's as good a 15 to 17-foot jump shooter that I ever coached and really ever played against throughout our career. And with that, each year he had a dimension to his game. And with his ability to make that shot and then put it on the deck and get to the rim, he had a lot of scoring opportunities. But, again, that just didn't happen. I mean, he's got some God-given ability, obviously, but he's got to take a little more credit for the work that he put in and the time that he put in to make himself a really good shooter.
Sports Talk with Koza Live. It's our Van Wert memory because we're honoring 3 former Cougar standouts, number 24 in our 30 and 30 countdown. It's brought to you by Greevy Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Van Wert. So North-South game, Indiana, Ohio All-Star game, Ohio, West Virginia All-Star game, and then the initial decision to go to IPFW and then switching to West Point, but it worked out. How was your time at West Point?
It was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it was one of the best decisions I've made in my career, and kind of how Van Wert was the foundation for the next level at West Point. West Point's kind of been the foundation for the next level in my career after basketball. So it was absolutely wonderful.
All right, and now what is Cory Sinning doing these days?
I'm living down in Miami, Florida, working for a medical device company.
And loving it?
Absolutely loving it. Sun is shining.
Great stuff. Well, I know you've got you got an important meeting coming up here, but we certainly so excited when we think Van Wert. It's hard not to think these 3 outstanding players: Cory Sinning, Joe Gardner, and Quincy Cloud. And Cory, great catching up with you, and continued success in what you're doing now. And thanks for being on the program.
Thank you very much, Vince. I'm honored to be a part of it.
Cory Sinning, everybody. Now, Dave, we're going to keep you there. And you took over this program when Joe Gardner and Quincy Cloud were just on the school wall. But tell me what those 2 guys meant to your basketball program and trying to continue that tradition.
Well, it certainly left a mark that we all were striving to get to, and Keith Noftz had built that over the 8 or 9 years he was there, and was able to take a team to Columbus 3 different times, and Joe and Q were part of the last couple, but it set the bar very high. But with that, certainly allowed us to have kids that were interested, that wanted to continue to work. And, we had our ups and downs, and we never got to that level, but we certainly did. It wasn't for lack of effort from our kids and what we were trying to do. But, we can always refer to that. You've got the pictures on the wall, and these guys are there, and that's what the next group was always striving to get to. But it was a credit to them, again, as players and coaches and what they established.
Well, those days, they seem like yesterday when you're talking about the early 90s and covering these outstanding players from Van Wert on that 92 team, which made it to the state tournament. And one of the young men, 1,482 points in high school, Later went on to play at the University of Toledo, and he's live with us in the Superior Federal Credit Union Hotline. It's Joe Gardner, everybody. Hi, Joe.
Hey, how you doing, Vince?
Good. Thanks for being with us, and let's go back to your days at Van Wert High School. What was that like?
Well, it was, growing up, I basically looked up to all the basketball players and the group of guys who were there before me, and all I ever wanted to do was just be like them. And, players like Pat Jackson and Aaron Meckling, Thad Eichenberry, Lance Moonshower, even like the coach now, Mark Bagley, Chad Foster, Shane Neat. I just wanted to be just like them, and they always included me in everything. And so I just kind of grew up around it, and how it all started.
Quite a player, WBL Player of the Year, two-time All-Ohio selection as well. And his senior year, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists a game. And his head coach for his time at Van Wert is live with us in Superior Federal Credit Union Hotline. It's Keith Noftz, everybody. Hi, Keith. Keith, are you there?
Yes, I am, Vince.
Right.
It's good hearing from you.
Yeah, well, you're live with Joe Gardner. You're live with Dave Froelich. And you're live with Sports Radio 93.1 The Fan. Let's reminisce. Take me back to those days at Van Wert and coaching Joe Gardner.
Well, coaching Joe was an easy job. Joe was a self-made player from the 6th grade on. He worked so hard at his game. A lot of people in Van Wert know this, but it just didn't happen. I mean, every morning before school at 7 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, he was in the YMCA putting up 500 shots. And, Joe wasn't an outstanding athlete, but he was a great basketball player because of his work ethic. I mean, his sophomore year, he hit 89 three-point shots, which led the state. He not only made 89 three-pointers, but he shot 50% from three-point range. And it was a carpet ride for me as a coach, having the opportunity to coach him for 4 years.
That's Keith Noftz, the then Van Wert boys head basketball coach, coaching Joe Gardner from Van Wert High School. And, Joe, take me through that tournament, that senior year, and making that tournament run.
Yeah, it was our senior year was a lot more difficult than probably the sophomore year. There's just a lot more pressure on the team to succeed. And our sophomore year, we weren't expected to do anything, and we just continued to get better and better and better and better. And but that senior year, a lot more expectations. But going back to 1992 and thinking about that team, I like to think about just the group of guys that we had, but more importantly, you got to remember. Coach Noftz was a great coach. He was by far the best X's and O's coach that I ever played for, and extremely organized. And the one thing that I'll always remember about Coach Noftz is that he always prepared me to win and our team to win. We went into every game with a game plan that allowed us to succeed. And I was a product of that. As he said, I wasn't the most gifted athlete, but I played in the perfect system for me. We ran, it was about being smart, about, back doors. We ran a structured fast break. All our sets were designed off of the strengths of our players. And as we grew as a team and as we, went through that tournament run, all 4 years that I was there, he would change things and tweak things and just play to our strengths. So, the older I get, the more I look back, the more I realize just how successful we were was a lot based on, the system that we ran. And I'll always be very appreciative of that.
High praise for Keith Noftz from Joe Gardner and you heard Coach Noftz talking about Joe Gardner, part of our number 24 in our 30 and 30 plus top Lima Land boys basketball players over the past 30 years. Number 24 brought to you by Greevy Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Van Wert. And then the decision to go on, Joe, and play at the University of Toledo. First off, why Toledo? And then tell me about your experience there.
Well, to be completely honest with you, I went to Toledo because I didn't have a tremendous amount of offers Division I. In the grand scheme of things, I was a borderline Division I player. But I did go to the University of Toledo. I was very fortunate to sign, a letter of intent there. I didn't play much my first 3 years, but I was able to play some significant minutes my senior year, which I was very proud of. But most importantly, I'm very proud of the fact that I got my business degree and my MBA from the University of Toledo free of charge due to athletics. And so it was, it was a great experience for me, and it was a great learning experience also, just from the standpoint of, when you go from kind of being a big fish in a small pond to going on to a bigger school and realizing that there's people out there who are a lot better than you are, and you have to learn to adapt and just make the most out of your opportunity, and I feel like I did that.
Sports Hobby Koza, that's Joe Gardner, former Van Wert standout. We'll be live with Quincy Cloud coming up as well. Joe, what are you doing these days?
Well, I'm a medical device sales rep for Medtronic down here in South Tampa, down here in Florida. It's kind of interesting. I'm down here in South Tampa with another couple other guys I'm sure you know. Well, of course, you just talked with Cory. He's in Miami. He's a very successful medical device regional manager. Brandon Pardon from Lincoln View. I'm sure you remember him. He's here in South Tampa. He's also an extremely successful medical rep. And we're all down here in Florida, so just enjoying our time down here.
Good stuff. Brandon will be coming up on that list. You can bet on that.
Oh, I'm sure.
And before I let you go, your take on your teammate, who's also a part of this 30 and 30 countdown on number 24, Quincy Cloud.
Yeah, well, I mean, Quincy, what everyone always remembers about Quincy is he was probably one of the most versatile players for his size. He could shoot the three, and more importantly, he could go inside and post up just about anybody. He used his his body better than probably any, than most players that I ever had the experience to play with. He could handle someone much taller than him, but then he's very versatile. He could also go outside. So, and having him to help relieve the pressure off of me and vice versa it was just a 1-2 punch that just served us well from, our days back playing for Jim Clay, who was my 7th grade coach, and my YMCA Killer Bee coach, all the way back playing at the Bradfield Center, Vince. That's going back.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the Bradfield Center in Lima.
Oh, yeah, it's still there.
But, we played, we played games against Greg Simpson back when we were in 5th and 6th grade. All the way through my senior year in high school. Quincy and I were a 1-2 punch that I was very fortunate to have him as my wingman.
Well, let's bring him in.
Can't say enough about him.
We wanted him to hear that. So what we did was we snuck him on, and here he is, the third part of this terrific trio from Van Wert High School. And I don't need to introduce him because Joe Gardner just did. It's Quincy Cloud. Hi, Quincy. Hello, Quincy. Are you there? All right. Well, we kind of got all excited about that, and we'll try again on Quincy as well. Joe, thanks very much. Appreciate it, and congratulations on being a part of our memory as well. It looks like we're losing everybody here. Is that right? We've lost everybody. So maybe we can't do 4 at once. Maybe we can only do 3 at once. So let's get Keith back on and Quincy back on. That's what we'll do. Nothing like live radio, but we were attempting something that I wasn't sure if we could pull off, to have 4 at once there. And who is this that we have on right now? It is, all right, Joe, you there? All right, so
yeah,
we got you back. We kind of pumped it all up for Quincy, and then we got Quincy, are you there? And he wasn't there, so we don't know what happened there, but great stuff that you're doing so well down in Florida, and it's interesting that what you're doing, and there's 2 other Lima Land prep stars that are doing similar stuff, and that you're in touch with each of them.
Yeah, no, I'm actually, I saw Cory a couple months ago down in Miami, spent a weekend with him and his beautiful wife, and actually I'm having dinner tomorrow night with Brandon, so yeah, it's a small world, and but it's one of those nice things. Good people come from Northwest Ohio, and so I like to stay in touch with those guys.
Well,
great individuals.
You tell Brandon we'll be in touch, and let's see if we can bring Quincy in. Quincy, you there? Quincy? All right. Well, we don't have Quincy again. Okay. So, all right. So what we'll do is, all right. Who do we have here? We have? All right. So we're having Dave is back. Okay. So. Obviously trying to put a bunch of people on at once, and it's not working for us. Dave, are you there?
I'm still listening to
All
this
right.
show, absolutely.
Yeah, well, of course you would be. It's about Van Wert.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you're still at Van Wert even though you're not the coach anymore.
I'm still trying to hang around and do something.
Yeah, sure. And do we have Quincy? We're going to try to bring Quincy in here as well. Quincy, are you there? Quincy? All right, we don't have Quincy. So, all right, well, we're going to try to get Quincy on, and we're going to try to get Keith back as well. So, Dave, we may have to let you go. Okay. But I'm trying to get it all in here and make it sound good. So, Quincy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Quincy. You're live.
Hey.
You're live on the radio. Did you hear Joe Gardner talk about you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, we just couldn't hear you. We tried to put you on. It didn't work. So, welcome. You're part of the memory here. The all-time leading scorer until Cory Sinning passed you, 1,616 points. Let me ask you this first before we get to you and your time there. What was it like to play with Joe Gardner?
Really it goes far beneath anybody really knowing. When I heard Joe speak just a little bit ago about how long we, played together, all the years that we, were able to play as the 1-2 punch. I mean, dating all the way back to Bradfield and, all over Northwest. But I don't get half of my points without Joe Gardner.
Sure.
I mean, Joe was a remarkable shooter. A humble guy. I think that he could have did a lot more, but he just enjoyed distributing as well.
All
around talent, and always been a great person.
All right, good stuff. Let's bring in your high school coach. Here's Keith Noftz, everybody. Keith, are you back with us? Keith, are you there? Okay, so we don't have Keith. So let's not put the 4 guys on together. Let's just get Quincy and Keith. And Quincy, what was it like playing at Van Wert?
Van Wert's got a lot of memories and it's got a lot of tradition. I can remember growing up, watching the guys in noon ball trying to fit in, but I always got kicked off. It was respect from the very beginning, and that's how we played the game. You know, it really didn't matter if we were the underdogs or, you know, the guys that were supposed to win. We went out and we played the game as hard as we could to represent Van Wert and the fans and the one and only Cat Pack.
21.5 points your senior year a game, 5.6 rebounds, helping you and Joe Gardner to a 22-4 record of the state semifinals. Keith, we hope you're back. Are you back, Keith? All right, we don't have Keith. Okay, well, let's continue with Quincy. Quincy, then talk about your time after high school and going to Owens Tech. Quincy, are you there? All right, so having some technical difficulties. We'll take a Don Jenkins Jeweler timeout. We'll finish with Quincy and Keith. It's our Van Wert memory. Number 24. It is brought to you by Greevy Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Van Wert, Cory Sinning, Joe Gardner, and Quincy Cloud.
From the Basement Doctor Studios, this is Sports Talk with Koza, presented by Jerry Lewis's McDonald's Restaurants on Sports Radio 93.1 The Fan.
Oh, the best laid plans of mice and men. I think we found technically we can't do 4 at once. We tried. We had 3. We're going to finish up our 30 and 30 memory of Van Wert, number 24. It's brought to you by Greevy Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Van Wert. We're finishing up with Keith Noftz, the head coach of Joe Gardner, the head coach of Quincy Cloud, and we're going to talk with Quincy Cloud. Here's Keith. Keith, sorry about that. We don't know technically what was going on, but you were there. And tell me about Quincy Cloud and coaching him.
Unbelievable athlete. At 6'3", 200 pounds as a senior, he was a difficult player to contend with. And Joe kind of spoke towards the fact that he could play inside, play outside, handle the ball, shoot the three, post up. And I think he had like 20 dunks his senior year, which was an exciting thing for our school and the way we played. But coaching both those guys was just an unbelievable experience. If I had to start a team, it'd be a tough choice at who you'd pick first, Joe or Quincy. They were both hard workers. You know, both played in the state tournament twice, and more important than anything, they won a lot of games. They were 82 and 18 their 4 years at Van Wert High School.
Good stuff. And let's bring in Quincy Cloud. Quincy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
What was it like playing for Keith Noftz?
You know, it was a pleasure. As we're going through, you know, the years and all the hard work we had to put in, and he demanded it. And, you know, at the time, you really don't see how important it is and how important it is to build your skill set, you know, up against the next. Always had creative ways to get whomever open the ball at that particular time. So, you know, it was nice. He always pushed us. He always demanded greatness, and I have a lot of respect for that.
All right, and then tell me about your time after Van Wert and the decision to go to Owens Tech. And, oh, by the by, you guys won a JUCO national championship, right?
Right. Well, when I came out, I really didn't have a whole lot of options. Wellington saw me at the District 8 All-Star game, went for a visit, met up with Jeff Massey, and the rest was history. They had won the national championship the year before, but I did have the pleasure of playing with those guys my freshman year, win the national championship, and then runner-up my sophomore year.
Great stuff. And what is Quincy Cloud doing these days? Where are you?
I'm out in St. Louis, Missouri. I work with youth in our detention center. You know, I'm just living life.
Good stuff.
That's all I'm really doing right now.
Well, nothing wrong with living life. So, Keith, you're there. It was quite a dynamic duo, and then you throw Cory Sinning into the mix. You're talking about Van Wert basketball and the tradition and history of it. Those three stand alone, don't they?
Oh, without a doubt. Well, let's not forget, those three were absolutely standouts. but I could name 20 other players that were really good players during that time span, and that made me look like a really good coach.
Well, good stuff. Thanks to both of you. Thanks for being a part of our number 24 memory. It's Quincy Cloud and Keith Noftz.